to this topic. Oh, well, first of all, I'll say hello to Laverne from BC, Canada. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Laverne. You're on an evac order with your fires and grateful to be here. I'm sending you lots of love, Laverne, because I cannot imagine what that's like. We moan about our weather in the UK so much, but our weather tends not to create property damage or take lives, or it's sometimes a bit rubbish, but it's fairly middle of the road, I would say. And I'm always, even I've managed to find a place of gratitude for it, even during probably the wettest July and August I've known for a long time, because I've been safe, and bless you. I feel for you, Laverne. I hope you're managing to get everything together and get safely out of where you are into somewhere safe. So take care. So we're going to talk about gratitude today. So I'm going to start with a little bit of a story about my relationship with gratitude. There's lots of hearts. I think those hearts are for you, Laverne. I definitely think they're for you, because I had a gratitude practice, as in a recorded, written journaling practice for over 5 years. So I'd love to know about whether you have had a gratitude practice in any way, shape, or form, whether you've managed to keep it going, whether it's something you still do now, how long have you been doing it, have you noticed, do you think it's benefited you in some way? That would be interesting to know. And I'll pick up some of those things in the comments, because what I like to do is make these sessions as interactive as possible. I'm going to share a little bit, and the little bit that I share you can catch on a free track, which I'll be uploading in the next couple of days. So if you want a little recap, you can go back. You started a gratitude journal soon, you ran out of paper. So you're going to be grateful for the stationery shop. That's a good place to start, Thomas, isn't it? But you have to go get a notebook. I have more. Mine are all still on the bottom of the wardrobe. So I don't know why I started my gratitude practice, but it was quite some time ago. Well, it must be, because I haven't done it for the last 3.5 years. So it must be about 9 years ago, something like that. And I used to just write maybe 5 or 6 things in little short sentences, in a like bullet pointed list, really, every day. Now I've read about, or I've learned about the Miracle Morning, and the guy Hal Elrod. If you've come across a Miracle Morning, you'll know what I'm talking about. He talks about doing it in the morning as part of the Miracle Morning process. I actually did mine in an evening. At the end of the day. So Sunita, you did a gratitude journal, but you found it was a list and you didn't feel like it did very much. Brilliant. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I love that people are so honest in these sessions and vulnerable and share all their little ups and downs, because I think it helps other people to see that you won't be the only one, Sunita, who's tried these things and doesn't feel like it's particularly done anything. Trust me. Now, I have no idea whether it did anything. I literally no idea, which is quite ironic, isn't it? Because we take on these tools and techniques, don't we? Like, yay, I'm doing a gratitude journal, aren't I good? Like, for me, it was once I start something like that, I'm like the good girl, pat myself on the head, giving myself a little sticker, because I do tend to stick to things quite rigidly. So I started it, wrote every day, did it on an evening, preferred the evening to do it. I don't even know why I did it in the evening, ironically. And then and this is interesting, because we're talking about gratitude, particularly in relationships today. I think you will find this interesting. So then I met Bruce, my fiance. I met him in July 2015. Kind of when I was in the recovery phase of my burnout, really. And when I first met him, when we first got together, there was all that initial woo, we met on Tinder, and we really hit it off, and it moved very fast, quite quickly. We were seeing each other on a very regular basis, spending weekends together. It was quite intense quite quickly. We really liked each other. But then both of our kind of emotional stuff, shall we say. I don't like to call it baggage, but both of our, our thinking, basically, as I now see it, started to get involved. And I was my usual critical self, as I have a tendency towards, a much reduced tendency, but I do have a tendency towards criticism. And he was very, very unhappy about that. I'm just going to say that he was not good with me criticizing him all the time. I mean, who is, quite frankly? And I kind of noticed he had like a three hairline trigger. Like if I criticized him 3 times during the day, he would just lose it really. And then he would storm out of the house, or he'd threaten to leave, or anyway. But at some point, I was doing my gratitude journal, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he really did see that he didn't like it when he got so upset and emotional, and so he took on board the gratitude journal thing as well. So every evening we would sit on the sofa together and we'd write our gratitude journals. And then I came up with a brilliant idea, because I noticed I loved him very much, but I could see that there were some wobbles and cracks around this criticism and reaction thing from him. I mean, my criticism was reaction as well. This is no way saying there was one person more bad than the other, because there wasn't. So it became a thing. So relationship was a bit wobbly, and I had this brainwave, like you do, that we could do a joint gratitude journal. So now we've got, when I say, if you've been here before, you'll know about the what I've said about how many hours a week I used to spend trying to fix myself on the kind of self-help stuff, that being 10 hours a week. You can see now why it became so much, because now we've got an individual gratitude journal each, and then we've got the joint gratitude journal. And the joint gratitude journal is, I write on one page and Bruce writes on the facing page, and we read each other's. We're not supposed to read. You're not supposed to read before you write yours. No cheating. There were so many rules about it. It's so funny. And so on the sofa, we're doing our personal gratitude journals, and then we're doing our shared gratitude journal. Same thing, except we would write it to each other. So I would write, "Oh, thank you so much for making me a cup of tea this morning. Thanks for the beautiful meal you created. Thanks for making my lunch." I mean, it wasn't all about food, but he is an ex-chef, so there was a lot of food-related gratitude. And really kind of trawling through the day to remember things that I felt he'd done. And it wasn't difficult to find things, because he's a lovely bloke. And I don't think we do get on with each other. We do love each other very much. So it wasn't particularly hard. But that's what we're doing. Lots of gratitude journaling stuff in the one evening, every evening. And we did that for quite a few years. I'm not sure how long we did that. I reckon probably at least 2, maybe 3 years. Maybe not that long, maybe a couple of years. And I remember the night that Jenny, who knows? I mean, we don't know, do we? That's a brilliant question. Was it helpful? I don't know, because it wasn't. Does anybody just go and do one thing? Right, I'm just going to do gratitude. I'm not going to do any other self-help, and I'm not going to do any other things to try and fix myself. I'm just going to do gratitude. Nobody does that. So I don't know if it was helpful. It just became a thing. It became a habit that we did. It's just a thing we did every night. I really don't know. I don't know how you would know whether it was helpful or not. And what Laverne just said is perfect. When I trust that it's helpful, it's helpful. So trust is related to thought. If we think it's helpful, it will appear to be helpful, but that's very much, it's clear to see that that is an illusion. I don't think, no, Jenny, I don't think it was a bad thing. However, I'm going to come on to the little things that I've seen about it since. So I'll just finish the little story. We came across the three principles. I came across the three principles in January 2020. I introduced them to Bruce pretty quickly. He was excited to learn it, and he started to listen to it and go, oh my God, how did we never know that? Like many people do when they come across the three principles, they say, why did nobody tell us? And why did nobody share the instruction manual for how our mind works? Seems a little bit rude, really. Why did nobody teach us this at school? I have loads of clients who say that to me all the time. And after probably about 3 or 4 months, maybe 5 months, I remember we were sat on the sofa one night. I should check when exactly it was. We were sat on the sofa one night, and I said to Bruce, and we're doing our gratitude journals, all 3 of them, between us. And I said, why are we doing this? And he just said, I don't know. And I said, well, shall we just stop then? And he said, yeah, let's just stop. And we just stopped, and we haven't done it since. Now, what I notice for me, as a consequence of, one of the consequences for me of being in the three principles is that my mind is a lot quieter. And I naturally spend more time in the present moment in a state of meditation, not meditating, in a state of meditation. And this is what I've seen about gratitude. In that quiet place, it is a natural aspect of being human. It doesn't need me to sit on the sofa and trawl through my head trying to remember something from earlier that day. For me, it's in the moment. I just thought about the irony of sitting on the sofa with Bruce. The most important thing to be grateful for in that moment was sitting on the sofa with Bruce, not trawling through the past rest of the day to try and remember the things to be grateful for early in the day. And when we fall into this place of presence, we fall into this place of connection. We connect to other people with ease. And gratitude is a natural consequence of that. There's nothing to do, nothing at all to do. Now, this is not me saying don't do a gratitude journal. This is not me saying don't do a gratitude journal with your partner or your kids. I'm not saying don't do it. You know, there's some lovely practices. I remember one of the things I used to teach people was just to have some little coloured, like post-it note size squares of paper, and just as a family just write things down and put them in the jar as they come up during the day, and then just have a lovely time reading them. Like, that process just sounds joyful, doesn't it? It sounds nice, a nice thing to do with your family or just with your partner. But there's a difference between that and us thinking that's something we have to do in order to be okay. Because that is addiction. And it is grounded in the outside-in misunderstanding. It's grounded in the idea that we need to do anything to experience these feelings. Gratitude is a feeling. It's not a practice. It's just like meditation is a state of mind. It's not. We can do a practice to get us there, but that isn't needed. It's available all the time. Gratitude is a practice, if you look at it that way, or it's just a state of mind that we can be in most of the time. Like right now, you know, Bruce is in the kitchen taking over the kombucha making. I can hear him. He's doing the tea bag. After 30 minutes, you put the hot water on the tea bags with the sugar. You make sure you give it a good stir and the sugar dissolves. And after 30 minutes, you have to take the tea bags out, because otherwise you end up with your tea being too strong for your when you put your SCOBY in, you'll kill the SCOBY. It doesn't like strong tea. It's a bit like me. It doesn't like strong tea, so 30 minutes is enough brewing time. You take the. We could do a live about kombucha making, couldn't we? That would be fun. We could demo it in the kitchen. I did do that once. I actually did that on a networking event once. I demonstrated how to make kombucha. So so you know, I can just feel, I can hear him in there, and I'm just thinking, oh, bless him, he's come down, he's sorted out the kombucha. He took over. I told him the timings out of my phone. He took over the timing on his phone, and he's come down and sorted that out. And you know, I can just be grateful for all sorts. Like today, we've been out and we went car booting at the weekend, and we've made quite a bit of money. I didn't really want to carry it to the bank to pay it in myself. And it was, you know, and he just walked with me to the bank to pay it in his busy working day. You know, it's just little things all day, every day. I don't need to write it down. I don't need to trawl through my mind. And I must say thank you to him so many times a day. I feel it. I just feel grateful towards him. So, Jenny, it sounds like you're shouting Bruce to come and join us. And one day that is going to happen. When he's brave enough, I'm going to get him to come and sit here for a little bit. And we'll talk together about relationships, maybe. Hi, Laura. Lovely to see you. So what I'm saying here is that if you love it, if you love doing gratitude, you just like to curl up on the sofa at the end of the day, and it's just really nice, and you really like it, fine. I'm not saying don't do anything. What I'm saying is that you don't need to do it. You're okay already. So Laverne, it sounds like, yeah, we did really a lot. It sounds like we just surrendered and let go. Oh, and thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the story. Yeah, in the moment we both were at peace, just sitting on the sofa. On the sofa? My daughter's called Sophie. We're not sitting on her. Oh dear. Yeah, we're sitting on the sofa. Yeah, just and I think that I love that. Maybe the energy of the shared experience of writing was enough to just be without the writing. Yeah, I mean, when we watch stuff on the telly together. Like we're watching Georgia and Ginny on Netflix. A really interesting show. I love watching stuff where you're watching people and how you keep seeing this mother Georgia. You keep seeing her in the present moment, and she seems altogether to the outside world. But then you see her as a young person, and you see the things she's gone through, and you can kind of see why she is the way she is in the present moment. I think that's so good to see that conditioning journey in other humans, and it's being portrayed very, very well in this particular show. Oh, that's so funny, Jenny. You want me to make sure that Bruce is a real guy and not just my imaginary friend. That's just so funny. I know some of you know he exists because we've been in the motorhome and he's been making the tea and crashing around, and you've been able to hear him. That's so funny. Back to what Laverne said. Absolutely. Now, Bruce and I sit and watch. We can be watching just a bit of, like, there's a soap opera in the UK called Emmerdale, which we watch, and we watch it because my baby, Laura, you probably can. He's making my evening meal now. I'm so blessed. Why would I not be grateful? I live with an ex-chef who's lovely. Yeah, so my son's in a soap opera, and so we watched that, and we watched some other bits and pieces, and just sitting on the sofa, we hold hands on the sofa, and I'm just so grateful I like to tickle his hairy arms. It's just little things like that. It doesn't have to be massive. Our life is. I once did I think it might be a track that's on here actually. I did a track once called "My Life's Really Boring," but I love it because our life is really simple. It's not complicated. We do simple things together, and we love our time together. So. Yeah, Sue, you're right. It's a feeling of being grateful, whether you note it in the moment or note it on paper. Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is that the more time we spend, it's almost like that's like a thing to practice. And the more time we spend in the present moment, just being, with just being in the present moment, the more joy, the more love, the more freedom, the more peace, love, and wisdom is available to us than if we are at any point going back, going forward, going back, going forward. This moment is it. And the more we live life from this moment, the more we have available, the more of our true potential can come to the fore. And that I actually have a course that's about revealing your true potential, and it talks about that. It talks about the present moment, how in the present moment you are most connected to your potential. I feel like I should just bring Bruce in now, just to prove to Jenny that he exists. Right, just let me go back, because I feel like I lost some comments. I missed some comments because it was going quite fast. So let's have a look at Richard's comment. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. You believe that gratitude has a strong effect on relationships, criticism is destructive, and you've been on both sides of that. Yeah, I would absolutely agree. Criticism is still something for me to bring awareness to. I'm just laughing at the comments about Bruce being imaginary. Sorry, I've lost you now, Richard. The criticism is something I was brought up with, and then that's not abdicating responsibility. It's just saying that I'm a woman who was born in 1971. I was brought up with treat 'em mean, keep 'em keen parenting, I like to call it, because that was it in those days. You kind of told your kids they're a bit rubbish in the hope that they would make themselves better from being told they were rubbish all the time. I'm not really sure that really worked, but I was brought up with, I'm blessed, when I spend time with my mum, those are interesting times, that when somebody's a mirror, and it is something I'm always looking towards. My awareness of it is increasing all the time, and that's all I can do, because I'm not going to go into a place of guilt and beat myself up about it. But it is getting better. Definitely noticing. I notice now the feeling more of criticism. I notice that brings about an unpleasant sensation in my body, and I know that sensation is letting me know that my state of mind is not very helpful right now, and then I tend to steer myself more away from the criticism. Just bear with me, I'm going to shout, Bruce. Honey, just come here a minute. I'm just going to prove that you exist to the Insight Times people. Just come down here and say hello. Just say hello. Hello. There we go. Thank you, Dan. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Bye. There we go. He's real. He's real. Oh, there you go. That's Bruce. Sorry, Jeffrey, you're wrong. He's real. He's definitely real. Right, let me get back to these comments now. Did I guess Wendy, you were asking, Wendy, you were asking about whether the gratitude journal decreased the criticism. I would say since the 3 principles, the criticism has gone down a lot more. It's a lot better now, more transformative than the gratitude journal. From my perspective, obviously, I know my perspective is just my perspective and is generally just made of my thinking. Well, it's just made of my thinking. So it's just how I see things, but that is how I see it. Most of the comments are kind of present for what's happening then. So you go, Jenny. It's not my imaginary friend. Oh, bless you, Laverne. Jealous that he's making kombucha, and happy for you that he's doing that. Oh, bless you. Yeah, they can, can't they? Those two things can be true at once. Oh, that's so nice. You've got a thing that you do. You share your Wordle. That's so lovely. I just think anything that you just find that you like doing together, it doesn't really matter what it is. So there you go, Jeffrey. Definitely not a puppet. I just like that. I like that. I like, Laverne, that you're sharing your word on. I think I've covered off any comments there. So there you go. You've met Bruce now. He's real. He's definitely real. He's not. He's he's very lifelike. He's a very lifelike puppet. No, he's definitely a real person. And I am extremely grateful, and I do feel very lucky that he's in my life because yeah, he's very supportive. Like this weekend, we've been doing car booting. But let me explain car booting to anybody who's not from the UK. We put all our stuff in the boot of the car, or in our case, in the back of the motorhome. Then you drive to a place like a field or an old, like it was a field on Saturday and an old industrial estate place on Sunday. And luckily, the weather was fabulous. And then you pull all your stuff out. You have like a pasting table, like a wallpaper table for doing wallpaper. Most people have one of those. And you pull that out, you put all your stuff out, you display all your stuff, and you're there with loads of other people also selling their stuff, and the odd kind of trader and stuff like that. And then people turn up and buy your stuff. I suppose I think in the US you do call them like a flea market, but I don't know whether flea market does everybody bring their own stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we've been doing this weekend, and he's just been fab. He's been, helping to sell the stuff. And most of it is my stuff because I've been 22 years in this house, and I have accumulated a lot of stuff over those years. But yeah, you call it a flea market in the US. Okay, yeah, same kind of thing. Car boot sale. So, and as you can hear, because you keep hearing little noises from the kitchen, he's making my evening meal right now. And I could literally just be in this place of gratitude all the time with him, and with lots of other people too. It's not just him. So let's just recap a little bit about the difference, I suppose, between when something is seen as being inside us as opposed to being outside of us. So when we looking at an emotion from an outside in perspective, whether it's a good, bad or ugly emotion, we've been told that they come from the outside world. I certainly thought they did. That's why I burnt out, because I was trying to control the outside world, the people, the circumstances, mostly the people though. I was trying to control the people, make them behave properly, because loads of people don't behave properly, do they? I mean, I find far too many people don't live their life Claire's way. And that used to really get on my nerves, so I really used to spend a lot of time either trying to control people or just being extremely anxious because they didn't behave how I wanted them to behave, and I would be very wound up about that. And, that sense of trying to control the outside world brought me to a place of burnout, because I was very busy doing things to try and control people and some circumstances, but I was also thinking a lot. I was very overwhelmed. Well, I was overthinking most things in order to, as part of this control thing. And gratitude is no different to that, in the sense that it's an emotion, like we've been saying, it's an emotion. And the things like a gratitude journal are nice to do, but it's not about doing them, it's about the understanding from which we do them. So if we're doing a gratitude journal because we fundamentally think we don't have access to gratitude as a feeling, an emotion, we have, but if we believe we've got to do the practice in order to experience that, then of course we will keep doing the practice. We'll keep looking to do something. So it could be a written gratitude practice, but if you're trying to bring more gratitude into your relationship, you could just be doing lots of things, or agreeing to give in to the other person, or have them agree to wanting them to give in to you, or trying to control them, or all sorts of other things in order to mean that you can be more grateful to them. So that would be one thing that we might go, right, well, I'd like more gratitude in my relationship, but he needs to do more different things for me. He needs to do certain things for me to experience that. So we could be doing it that way. We could be doing something like a practice that is about trying to get it from the outside in by doing a practice. There's all sorts of things we could be doing to create more gratitude in our relationships. But when we see that there is no outside world creating our emotions, that our experience is created inside out, we find that more and more we look inside for those feelings. Like right now, if you just take a breath and think about somebody who, I'm not going to ask you to think about somebody who you have a massive difficulty with, but maybe think about somebody who you've recently had a little bit of a wobble with, but normally you get on with them okay. And just like right now, how close is that feeling of gratitude? Just being with it, with that person in mind, not trying to force yourself to think a grateful thought about them, but just with that person in mind, how close is that feeling of gratitude? What if that feeling didn't need the other person to be a certain way? What if it didn't need you to be trawling around in your head to try and find? What if it was just part of the natural human connection? We look at this from a non-dual perspective. We see that, well, we're not separate anyway. So gratitude can just be there as an experience of just part of this lightness and presence and joy. Now, I'd just like to add a little, what's the majiggy? What's the word I'm looking for? Just a note that I'm not like this all the time. Please don't think that I'm like this all the time at all, because I'm flipping well not. There are some times when Bruce and I don't get on, and there's sometimes when I'm not in a place of gratitude, because of course I'm in my psychological there up here, and I'm thinking that he's making me feel things, and there I am in that misunderstanding. But so I'm no angel. I'm just the Queen of Calm. I'm not the Angel of Calm. I'm not like that all the time. We're supposed to come in and out of it. We're supposed to see it sometimes and not see others. So don't beat yourself if you're not there too. So really, really, what I'm pointing to here is that this model of life that I'm sharing with you is subtractive, and that as all the people need to be like that, circumstances need to be like that, my emotions come from the outside world. How do I fix it all so I feel okay? How do I do enough practices so that as all that falls away, as you realize it's always inside you, there's just this presence and quiet that is accessible so much more of the time. So I'm just gonna go on to I'm gonna go to the comments now. Oh, bless you, Heidi. Oh, your son's about to make a bad decision for himself today. Leaving his treatment program with no control. Oh, bless you. I really do feel for you. Yeah, grief and fear, I imagine, Heidi too. But I don't know how old your son is. I'm going to guess he's an adult. But even if he isn't, he's old enough to be in a treatment program. That it's so hard because we think we know best, don't we? Especially for our children. But his psychological functioning is perfect, just like all of ours is that he's doing the best he can with the thinking that looks true to him. And I send you so much love because I cannot imagine what that must be like. the fear that you must be in at the moment. But just notice how much of a story there is there. That's what I would look towards. Notice the story, Heidi, about what the result of this decision your son is making is going to be. Because that's the anxiety. That's the anxiety. And maybe just now it would be helpful, like, I feel this intuition to say to you, just feel your feet on the floor, just feel your body in whatever you're sitting in, and just be still for a moment, just take a breath and see how close that calm is. You're okay, it's there. And you're getting so much love from the people in the comments as well, because they are a lovely bunch, really lovely. So lots of love, Heidi. Yeah, thank you, Laverne. Yeah, we are always enough, and but we are going to fluctuate. We're having a human experience. We're not robots. We're kind of pre-programmed. Let's all, this idea that we're supposed to be like this, or that this all the time, same level of calm and whatever is available to us, is creating probably about 100% of the struggles that humans are having right now. The idea that we are not supposed to have emotions, and that we're not supposed to go up and down and up and down and up and down. It's an illusion. It's I don't know where it's come from, this idea. It's come from partly from the pathologization of our emotions, from all the stuff that we've been taught about mental illness. But I think it's been there before, that I think it's partly because human beings are looking for calm, aren't they? They're looking to feel good. And I'm not saying prefer to be in a state of anxiety, but maybe just accept it's part of being human. There's nobody here that doesn't sometimes feel anxious, including me, or angry or frustrated or upset with other people. That's just life as a human being. But there is something powerful that happens when we accept that is part of life as a human being. Because we stop rallying against it, and it is really the rallying against it that's so painful. We're allowed to feel. So I love that Lauren said, grateful for our body too. Yeah, I mean, I am totally grateful for my body, Laura, because I really see that my body is the provider of the key information I need to function at a really, the best way I can. If I listen to my body, if I listen when I'm tired, if I listen when I'm thirsty, if I listen when I need the loo, if I listen when I'm been sat too long and I need to stand up and move about, whatever it is, or I listen when I'm hungry, I'm going to listen to my body. If I listen to my body on a physical level, I will take care of my body. But if I listen to my body on an emotional level, if I notice the sensations, that is the most powerful information, because that's letting me know about my state of mind. And my mind tends to be off on one. I don't know about yours, people. So much of the time, it's off on one. Absolute nonsense. Too much of the time. And, my body is really good at going, hey, how you feel terrible, you've got a terrible emotion here, you feel uncomfortable, then, that is because you've gone off on a train of thought that's just really not very helpful. And without those sensations in our bodies, who we wouldn't know how useful our thinking was. That's what's going to let you know how useful your thinking is. If you have a rubbishy feeling, Your thinking is rubbish. End of. That's it. That's one of the most important things we can learn from this understanding. So I'm just loving seeing lots of awareness. Yeah, I love that, Laverne. Your awareness, you're in a poopy state. I quite like that poopy state. And that's okay. Yeah, and then it can shift because you're willing to see it. Like, if you're okay, whenever you can fall into a place of acceptance of what is right now, there will be a natural move towards a better state because you're allowing this psychological immune system to kind of shift things, definitely. Bless you, DM. Thank you so much there's so much lovely support for Heidi in the chat. Really, really. Yeah, 29. Bless you, Heidi. They're always your baby though, aren't they? Like mine are 23 and 21. They love it when I say that. But they're always in your heart, and maybe that's it, just keep holding him in your heart. And I hope for the best for it all. Yeah, Marina Galan is lovely. I've been on a couple of Zoom things with her. She is absolutely lovely. So thank you, Sue, for that. There's lots of lovely 3 Principles teachers, and Marina is one of those. Yeah, and Laverne, more support for Heidi. Thank you. You've also got a son who's on a journey of addiction and mental illness. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I would love you to get your sons here. Like, just saying that, or find someone who appeals in the 3 Principles, from the 3 Principles. Maybe, like Sue said, Heidi, if you can lovingly send them some resources on this, maybe that would be helpful to them. But I think it's always going to be more important for us to take care of ourselves and to be looking in this direction to see what we can experience. Yeah, Laura, it is. We do. You put we and I in brackets. I love that. Want to be in peace all the time, and it's not easy and not so possible. It's impossible. I went to an event once with Ruby Wax. She's an American comedian, but she lives in the UK now. We've adopted her, and you're not getting her back, US, I'm afraid, because she's lovely. But I went to an event of hers, years ago, before I came across 3 Principles, must be about 5 years ago. And she did a first half just very much comedy. She's got a lot of books about mental illness. Unfortunately, she hasn't learned the 3 Principles. I'd love to coach Ruby Wax. If anybody knows Ruby Wax, you can just do a quick introduction of her, because she's not seen this. And so bless her, she's in and out of. She's needed a lot of help. She's written quite a few books. Anyway, in the first half, she did a bit of comedy about mental illness and about her, and told a story and everything. Then in the second half, there was a neuroscientist and a Buddhist monk. Right, so if we're going to find somebody who's got it, sorted, it's going to be the Buddhist monk, isn't it? Like the person who's got calm all the time, apparently. King of calm, Buddhist monk. And they did a little talk, and then there was questions from the audience, and somebody said to the Buddhist monk, do you get angry? And he just laughed. Like, he just laughed his head off. Like, if somebody asked me, do you get angry, Queen of Calm? I would just laugh, because of course I do. Not to the same potency, I would say, as I used to, but I haven't done anything about that. It's just naturally fallen away over time. And that's the thing with the 3 Principles. Nothing to do. Things just naturally get better over time, which is amazing. So, so the Buddhist monk does get angry. He said, yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. He's a human being. We're supposed to go up and down. Now, when I started this journey, my ups and downs were like going up and down mountains, up, down, up, or a roller coaster, massive, really scary roller coaster. And my ups and downs are less, and I guess I stay in the down places less of the time, come back up much faster. So I might go down, but come back up much faster. And my highs tend to last a longer time. But there is still this fluctuation. You can't not have that. And if that's what you're looking to have, no fluctuations, you're going to have a difficult experience of life, really, because that is just not possible. So Laura, absolutely, it's just not possible. I mean, I just think if just today you just let go of the idea it was possible to be calm all the time, or anything all the time, you would be doing yourself a massive favour. Yeah, Anna, I like that, absolutely. Sometimes you can't help thinking that life is a bit unfair. Isn't it just? Particularly on the weather front in the UK at the moment. But it doesn't work like that. Whatever arises in the mind, yeah, don't label it as good or bad. It is just a sense. That's why I often use the word sensation. Sensation is so helpful. It's a sensation. It's a piece of information also. Sensation, an emotion in here. In here, that was really Yorkshire, wasn't it? I don't often go in here. An emotion in here is information. It's a sensation and information. Now your brain will try to make that into a story. It'll say it's something. It's something else, it's dangerous, it means there's something wrong with you, it means you've got to do something in the outside world, blah blah blah. Too complicated. Information, sensation, information. There's a sensation, just a sensation, don't call it anything. I love that, Anna. It's just a sensation and it's information to let you know about your state of mind, and to know that everything where you're trying to function better or do better, you'll always do it better when you can't. That's why I like to be the queen of calm. Yeah, Jenny, I do know that feeling. No control of someone else's mental struggles. Yeah. And as a parent, I just think it's like, it's just so, I don't want to say innate, but it's just so rooted in us, isn't it, to want our children to be okay. And it feels so strongly like, in order for us to be okay, our children have to be okay. And I can relate to that. My it's nothing like what you're describing. But my daughter has been working this summer at the seaside in a holiday park, and she a few weeks ago burst into tears right near me. She'd only just started. She'd been there about a week and a half. And she said, I'm going away for the weekend away from work. I said, why are you going? You've only just arrived. And she just burst into tears. I don't like it here. It's awful. And so, Bruce and I, we have a motorhome and we love to be away in our motorhome and we love the seaside. So it's not been a great big problem, but we've been to the seaside pretty much every weekend to go see Sophie and take her out for the day, because the day off's been Sunday. And this week it's Thursday, a day off, so I'm going to go on a train and a bus and goodness knows what to go see her. So, I'm doing it too, whatever it is, but it's just hard. I can't say anything else, really. I don't want to throw this understanding at it, because I just want to feel compassion for you, really. I really do, I do. Oh, so Jenny, you've experienced it too. Yeah, you can be there for them, like Jenny's saying, but they have to want to make the change. But it's very challenging to stand by. Yeah, I love that, JG. Emotions are lessons to teach us, definitely. And Sue, that is a very famous quote. I studied Shakespeare at university, actually, but nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Absolutely true. Yeah, me too, Anna, with my adult daughter. We just want them to be happy, don't we? And we sometimes want to fix them, but we can't. Yeah, there's quite a few people here with children who are struggling. JG, you too, got a son struggling. There are lots of people who are about sharing this with younger people. I work with people across the age ranges. I mostly work with women, and I mostly work with people who are in midlife-ish. sort of 35 plus, well, 35 till whenever, really. I've had clients as old as somebody in their kind of 70s, and my youngest client at the moment is 18. And it's just a joy having this conversation with her because she's just so open, really, really open, and she's kind of getting it really quickly because they've got less baggage. But yeah, if anybody's open, if you have anyone in your life who is open to hear this, please do send them in this direction. It sounds like most of us are talking about adult children because I think most of the people here are older, probably in midlife, and so I've got older children. So thanks, Sue, for Missy Mariano, who's somebody who works with children, but I think she work with little children, whereas most of here, I think we're talking about children who are not children. There are, what do you have? We still call them children, don't we? There should be a word for what an adult child is called. We just call them adult children, don't we? We're just kind of contradiction. What do we call them? Our offspring. Call them our offspring, young adult, but our young adults. Do we call them our young adults? Maybe JG. You're 15, your son's 20. I think most of us are talking about children of that kind of age. Small children, adult children. Yeah, maybe. Young adult, offspring, maybe. I don't know. There should be a word, shouldn't I? Feel like there should be a word. Maybe we could string the two words together and make a chadult or a adren. Biggie youngies. I like that, Jenny. Young adult JG, maybe. So Thomas, in your humble opinion, sometimes the best we can do is help those who help others. That's an interesting one. I'd love you to explain that a little bit more if you can, Thomas. It comes down to the context our consciousness puts to it. Yeah, absolutely. It's the stories, isn't it, Heidi? I think that's what you're saying. It's what we think we're supposed to be like as parents. It's what we want for our children. It's the story we had before they were even born. Come on, who had a story about their child before they're even born? And what they were going to be like or what they would be able to achieve. I had an interesting one recently when Sophie, my daughter, she was into performing arts. She was studying performing arts in London. Her whole life, from being very young, she'd said, I want to go to London. She was quite little. I want to perform in the West End and then become a director in the West End. Absolutely. That's what she wanted to do. And she went to London for a couple of years to study musical theatre, and she jacked it in. And I remember her grieving. I was like, no, I want to see her in the West End. Would you? I mean, it was ridiculous, really. But now I see that she's found zoology. She absolutely loves it, and she's really, really happy. Yeah. Oh, soccer stuff. My son played. We call it football. I know it's a different game, but yeah, my son's played soccer for many years. In fact, he's started playing again now. I'm going to see if I can go and watch him. Yeah, so there's lots of places here where we as parents, where it really, so this is again outside in, and it's a really tough one, but it's where we think our well-being depends on the well-being of somebody else, and as a parent, that's a key thing. It's a key. It's just a key way that we see life as parents. That we think that our emotional well-being is dependent on theirs and on them being in a certain place in life. Oh, bless you, Gary. You've got a son with anxiety and a daughter with an eating disorder. Goodness gracious. Oh, I'm glad to see she's moving in the right direction, though. An RN, is that a registered nurse? Is she? Yeah, Owen is happy. Lots of love to you, Gary, definitely. Thank you, JG. So much love for the people who have got things going on. Well, Anna, That's a really interesting thing to say. You're only as happy as your unhappiest child. But what if that didn't have to be true? What if we could be happy? I'm not sure if I like happy really, but at peace, even when our children are not. And the thing, this is not like underestimating this at all, but saying that when we are calm, when we are in presence, when we are in peace, love, and wisdom, we are best placed to help everyone we love. We when we're connected to them and just grateful for their existence and loving them and present with them, we will always be better placed to say things or do things and everything else than if we're caught up in needing them to be okay for us to be okay. And I realise that's a big ask. I do know that. I'm a parent too, and a step parent and a step grandmother apparently. Not sure about that one though. I'm not actually married to him because I'm in denial of the step grandmother thing. I'm clearly not old enough to be a grandma. Anyway, Thomas, as a HSP empath, possible ADHD. Who knows what else aside from axial. I can't pronounce your condition. I'm sorry, depression. You want to help others. To do so, you need lots of support times. You're always learning and grateful to be learning. That's lovely, Thomas. And maybe I hope you're interested in maybe letting go of some of these labels, because they create their thoughts and they create our reality in exactly the same way. I'm going to do some. In fact, I'm going to write that down right now. I'm definitely going to talk about labels next month when we explore lots of different aspects of the three principles, because I think it's key to discuss labels and what they do to our perception of ourselves. Really important. Yeah, I mean, JJ, everyone being responsible for their own happiness. Responsible is really interesting because I have to go back then to everyone's doing the best they can with the thinking that looks true to them. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether responsible is quite the word I would go for. I might talk about that in a live because I feel like I'm going way off. The window of choice in terms of what we experience, because our experience, our emotions in the moment are created by the direction of our thinking. The window of opportunity to move away from a train of thought that is not helpful to us emerges and lights up more. Like I feel like it's like the light that lines up on the train when you want to get off. The little open door button. It lights up and you can get off the train. That light doesn't come on. You can't force that light to come on. That light comes on the more you look in this direction. The more you see that it works inside out. Like it's back to the ruler. I think a lot of you've seen the ruler, but I'm going to do it anyway because there's 112 people here, and I'm sure some of them have not seen the ruler. But if I'm hitting myself on the head with the ruler, telling you about all the things I've tried to do to make myself feel better, like sniffing. I think it's rosemary I've got here. It still smells really. I do like rosemary oil. Sniffing rosemary oil, going for walks in the fresh air, drinking loads of water, not having caffeine, blah 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 blah. I've done all these things and I've still got a headache, and my headache is just on this side of my head, and I really don't know how to make it go away. And of course, you will say to me, "Stop hitting yourself on the head with a ruler." and I will stop. That's what your trains of thought are like. And at some point, if you stay in this conversation, you will realise that, like for you, perhaps, Heidi, it's noticing that there's a huge doom and gloom story about your son and the future and what this him leaving the program means for everything, for him and his health and everything else. And maybe you'll start to notice that there's a point when you just go, I know not to think about that anymore because I know it's making me feel terrible. And that's when we fall naturally into the present moment. Now, sometimes I'll forget and I'll be talking to you and going, oh, yeah, that headache's come back. Oh, my hand's got this habit of touching me on the head with a ruler. It's just got stuck there. Oh, there it goes again. Oh, I will keep going back to it because it's habitual and it's a bit of a trap. But the more I look in this direction, the less likely I am to do that. So yeah, I know what a HSP is, Thomas. Thank you. Highly sensitive person. Yeah. I mean, labels. We're going to talk about labels next month, definitely, because next month, we're going to be looking at just some of the foundational, implications of the three principles, like separate realities and, what happens when you have a label. We'll look at unconscious bias. We're going to look at the foundations, why there is no such thing as control. And we'll talk about things like intuition and wisdom, and yeah, there's loads of subjects kind of bubbling away in my head, and they will emerge in September, because that will run along the course that I've just submitted today, which is called Sustainable Calm with the Three Principles. Now, I know you've heard me say today, you're not supposed to be calm all the time. How can you have sustainable calm? But what I would say about that is that it's being calm when you're not. Like when I'm upset, I don't get upset about being upset. So I've got this underlying calm while I'm a little bit up there, and I go back to the calm much quicker. So there's a little bit about that. Let me have a look. So Heidi, oh bless you, Heidi. Yeah, when you get better. Yeah, I hear some lovely awareness there, Heidi, where you're seeing the stuff about the future. Whereas really the only reality is right now. Yeah, to just accept him as he is right now is beautiful. And thank you, Jenny, for that lovely donation. And thank you, anybody else who's made donations. I think Thomas made donations. If anybody is able to make a donation today to support me and Insight Timer on this journey to support you and to keep this content free, then I'm really, really grateful. It is easy to get stuck in the stories, JG, definitely. Thomas, if I could take like most words in the dictionary, and we could have like, some of you have been to my lives recently. We've taken a word and kind of seen. We looked at perfectionism and how the word perfect used to mean just complete, and now it means you have to finish it. It's to be complete, but it's not to have anything wrong with it. and that didn't actually. The meaning of the word changed, so it's like just shows how made up now some of our stuff, like labels and words and all these other things, are all thoughts. You're right, Thomas, they're all thoughts. They're all thoughts. But you're right, it's the understanding and the feeling behind the label. But I would say that wherever we're saying I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a whatever, we're creating our reality through that, because it changes our perception of life, changes our perception of ourselves so much. There's all sorts of labels I had for myself, and they've all gone. The majority of them. I very rarely hear me say I'm a something. I'm still a chocolate person though. Like, I'll always prefer chocolate over sweets. Anybody else? Sweets just sugar with nothing in them. I quite like chocolate. I'm a chocolate person. Sorry, Jenny. I don't think I might not have seen that message. Well, I will have a look. That app does not tell you anything. It doesn't inform you. There's no. I mean, and I guess that's nice in a way, because it's an app that's around meditation and mindfulness and calm and everything else. That, unlike all the other apps that go blip 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 on your phone, Insight Timer doesn't do that, because of course it doesn't want to interrupt your day. That's not kind of what it's about. But of course it does mean that I have to remember to go check. Excuse me, but I'll go and have a look, Jenny, after this. Strawberry Magnum for you. Oh, strawberry. You see, just proving that we're living in thought-created reality. Strawberry ice cream is wrong. Strawberry. I love strawberries, but strawberry flavoured things I find them a bit sickly. So I think we're just about drawing to a close here. Let me tell you about what's coming up. Obviously, my lovely new course. I also have 4 other courses, all about the 3 principles on Insight Timer. I create a course each month, and then the rest of the sessions we do are, I can probably see your message there, I'll have a look in a minute properly. The rest of the sessions that we do are connected to that course. So the idea is you can come to the lives, you can get some information, and then you can go into the courses and find out a little bit more. So what have we got coming up this week? We have got tomorrow, same time tomorrow now. This is a regular session, because what I've got now is I've got this session, and it is followed by a Zoom that you can come and join me on, and that is on the link in bio, so you can have a look at that. I'm hoping that's going to grow to be, it's for no more than 20 people. So the idea is that you can come along to that, and you can talk about some of the things we've talked about. So we're going to talk about could talk about nothing if I can't speak. Mindful presence in relationships tomorrow at 3:50 p.m. Remember, these are UK times, so you'll have to convert. Like, Con does it on the app, doesn't it? So that's tomorrow at 3:50 p.m. followed by us exploring that further in my Zoom session. Check out the link in bio for that. And then 8:05 on Wednesday, we've got the gift of forgiveness. Interesting. And at 1:11 on Friday, the 25th, we've got transforming criticism to empowerment. There's a good one to follow up from this, isn't it? Because we've been talking about criticism a little bit as well. My courses, creating harmonious connections and enhancing relationships with the 3 principles, from stress to success, the 3 principles approach for effortless productivity, revealing your full potential with the 3 principles, and calm, balance, and clarity with ease. I've read them in the reverse order in which they're made. The titles just got longer and longer. So the title of this one is much shorter: Sustainable Calm with the 3 Principles. So, Anna, 2 things about recording is I record my face on this screen talking, and that goes, if you go to my link in bio, there's a YouTube channel there, and I have the tracks on there. Anna, and also I tend to make a little, if you remember the titles, I make a little short track. It's little in many ways. It's little and it's short. Like a 15-minute kind of prequel to this. But that, and they usually get uploaded about every 5 days. So there will be a little podcast. That's a good word for it. A podcast version of this with the same title. So you can check that out as well. So good. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for those donations. They are lovely. Shira, you've been taking my course on calm and clarity. Thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you find it helpful. It's so lovely when I see people on the courses and in the lives. It's so nice. You were just about to finish course 10 and you thought you were just on lesson 10, you thought you'd come and check the live. That's lovely. That's so nice. Yeah, well, we should have, if I should have credits, shouldn't I? Bruce should be on the credits. Hopefully we'll see. Yes. Oh, that's so nice, Shira. That's what brought you here. Fantastic. So good. It's so good to actually, well, I'm sure it's nicer to actually see me rather than just hear me. Well, I don't know. It might not be. Um, what I love about the courses, I love the donations. If you'd like to support me too, get into conversation with me on those courses. And I love that because you can leave me a little question. Maybe, Shira, you could share your insights or ask me a little question on the course. And I then reply in little voice notes. And that I really like that because it feels like I'm starting to interact with people and build some relationships. So I love that. So that's it for today, folks. I'm going to go off and see. I can smell a nice smell. As Jenny says, catering by Bruce. He makes sure I'm fed and watered so I can come and do these sessions with you. But the catering is happening. I can smell it. I can smell lovely. I think it's roasted vegetables and salmon tonight. Sounds yum, doesn't it? And I'm going to go do that. Excuse me. So, Mick, I hope you're feeling a little bit better because you weren't so good at the beginning, weren't you? Yeah, lots of love. What I love about this has been so much love shared between all of you on the session as well, which is really, really nice. It's just so lovely. And I feel the love in the room, which is gorgeous. So thank you so much, everybody. I will hopefully see some of you tomorrow. Oh, Mick, that's lovely. I'm so glad you're feeling better. What was I going to say? I'll hope to see some of you tomorrow. If not, I'll see some of you in my courses. I'd love to chat with you there and, enjoy my free tracks too. Got a few premium things. Yeah, that's it. We're done, I think. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, as always. Lots of love. Thank you for all the little love hearts going up the side as well. They're so gorgeous. Thank you so much, and I will hopefully see some of you again soon. Bye. Lots of love.